If you're a regular to this channel, chances are you already know that I love Konami's Ganbare Goemon series. At this point, I own nearly every Goemon game there is, only a couple away from a complete collection, and I plan on covering each and every one in some form or another. And speaking of which, I'd better get on that, it's been a while. Anyway, for video games that I really enjoy, I'm the kind of guy who likes to collect beyond just the card or disc. For Final Fantasy or any kind of Nintendo series, it's pretty easy to find memorabilia in the form of figurines, music CDs, clothing, and the like. But for other properties, this is simply not the case. Konami produced a lot of goods for the Gensou Suikoden series, but it's tough to be a fan trying to collect for it, as Suikoden merchandise can be pretty hard to come by for some reason, even online. So imagine how much more difficult it must be to find anything related to Ganbare Goemon that's not a video game. Little things like eraser figurines are often plentiful and pretty cheap, but music CDs are another story altogether. Even if you're lucky enough to find one, be prepared to shell out over $100, sometimes even over $1,000 just to be able to keep one of these hard to find discs on your shelf in its laser grid protected glass display case. But thanks to Egg Music Records, you can now own a large chunk of the Ganbare Goemon game soundtracks in one convenient box set. Released on May 26, 2017, the Ganbare Goemon Sound Tamatebako Original Soundbox is a collection of the complete musical scores to 16 classic Goemon games, and one bonus track from a non-Goemon title, spanning 10 discs in all. These titles include the arcade original, Mr. Goemon, the MSX2 and Famicom editions of Ganbare Goemon Karakuri Douchuu, Ganbare Goemon 2 on the Famicom, Ganbare Goemon Gaiden 1 and 2, also for the Famicom, the first 4 Game Boy and Game Boy Color Goemon releases, the 4 main Ganbare Goemon Super Famicom games, and the Super Famicom Ebisumaru puzzle game spin-off. The bonus track featured in this set is Goemon's theme from the Game Boy Advance Japanese launch title Konami YY Racing, known as Konami Krazy Racers outside of Japan. With 8 and 16-bit being the theme of this compilation, the absence of Ganbare Goemon Seikushi Dynamite's Arawaru for the Game Boy Color is a particularly noticeable omission. The 10 CDs are held in 5 jewel cases housed in a sturdy outer box with some pretty cool and colorful art. I really like the sprite versions of Goemon and Ebisumaru, as well as Impact peeking out from the top and bottom sides. The large spine card with the soundtrack list on the back is too big to store inside of the box without bending, so I have a feeling most people are just gonna throw it away. The jewel case designs are simple and attractive, though the covers are just single sheets of printed paper. Instead of liner notes for each of the CD cases, the set comes with a mini booklet containing track listings, a bit on the history of Ganbare Goemon, mini OST reviews of each of the games featured, and lists of all the Goemon titles as well as other games featuring the titular hero or the series' iconic music. For a fan of Ganbare Goemon, this box set is a dream come true. The price tag is pretty steep, however, retailing for 14,500 yen plus tax, which amounts to about $150 US. But when you take into account that with these CDs you'll get a total of 657 individual music tracks, and an original pressing for over half of these games' soundtracks would probably cost you more than that anyway, the price is quite reasonable. Sure, you could just download or listen to these songs for free online, but it's nice to have this option available, whether it be for collector's reasons or just to kick back and listen to the music on an actual CD player. The games themselves have aged very well for the most part, and there are only a few less than stellar entries in the series. But one thing that always remained pretty consistent among the Ganbare Goemon games is its excellent, timeless music. Some of my favorite video game music tracks come from many of the games found in the CD collection, though it is a shame it only covers up until the Super Famicom and Game Boy Color eras. Fingers crossed for a second compilation that includes the rest of the games. It would be worth it just for the amazing music from the N64 games alone. I pre-ordered this box set months before its release directly from Egg Music Records' online store, amusement-center.com, which sent a brochure of its products and services along with the CDs. In addition to an amazing selection of popular and obscure video game soundtracks, they also have a classic game download service called Project A that I might have to check out sometime soon. And something I'll also have to do soon is work on another Ganbare Goemon episode of Import Gaming for the Win. So until next time, this is Jimmy Hoppa saying to buy the CD set if you're a fan of the Ganbare Goemon series. Maybe Konami will finally get some sense and do something with this fantastic franchise again if they see that people still absolutely love these games. We can only hope. Anyway, as always, take care.